Okay, welcome to this call about the raindrop technique. I'm really excited about this call because I've gotten to experience raindrop both as someone enjoying one, and I have learned how to give them. Actually, at Young Living Farms, I've had a couple of all-day classes on the raindrop, so I'm really excited to share this with you. And I am even more excited to share my friend Leah SB with you as well. She is such a sweet friend of mine who I met several years ago, but we just got to spend a really fun weekend together. So we decided to team up on this call. So Leah has been oiling for a really long time. She is a diamond with Young Living, and I know you will learn a ton from her and from this class. So please have a pen and paper ready to take notes because you're going to want to write some things down. So with that, Leah, I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you, Allie. I am so excited and honored to be here with you and your team as well, and love doing the Crossline community and just working together, because I just feel like when we're here as a group, we're going to learn from each other as well as I have from Allie. So I'm super excited about this. So we are going to try to make this fast and furious to give you the meat and what you really want to learn from Raindrop. We are not going to walk you through. Obviously, it would be weird to do that on Zoom to try to show one, but we will give you a link to a video that you can watch later so that you can learn how to practice it and watch it over and over. But we want to start with a quick overview on what a raindrop is. So a raindrop is a powerful, non-invasive technique using 9 essential oils layered along the spinal column and on the feet. The series of essential oils are applied using a light massage technique with no hard pressure or force. The oils are strategically dropped over nerve pathways that run down the spine and end at the feet. So it's kind of like throwing paint at a wall, if you will. You're going to reach every part of the body by focusing where the nerve bundles are. That's why it is so effective, because it reaches into the core of the body. This uses the communication system of the body as a highway for essential oil delivery. Once the oils are applied using 8 varying techniques, a carrier oil is laid down to seal them in. And a warm towel is laid on your back for several minutes to drive the oils deeper into the skin. And using the raindrop is an intense aromatherapy experience that can be physically and emotionally recentering. And it is unique in that it targets the body on a cellular level from the outside by shooting the oils up the nerves using the energy of your own body. To my knowledge, there is nothing that is as comprehensive in the world anywhere as the raindrop technique. And Young Living founder D. Gary Young paired God's plants in the form of essential oils, the body's natural electrical current, ancient techniques like Lakota Indian feathering, and Tibetan Vitaflex, along with scientific knowledge of basic anatomy to create a brand new system of getting oils to every cell in the body. Despite its genius design, raindrop is a relatively simple technique that anyone can learn and can be done with a little practice in your own home. Now, a session typically lasts 60 to 90 minutes if you're going to do the full technique, but we're going to share even how you can do a mini raindrop in under 3 minutes, which is really helpful for busy women on the go, or wanting to be able to just do something on yourself as well. You don't need to be a massage therapist or an aromatherapist to use it, and that's really important to note as well. Anyone can truly learn this and practice it. You just need to break out your bottles and do your best. And our body is truly intuitive by design, and it's going to tell the oils where to go. They are just incredibly smart and know what to do once they're in our body. So why is it called raindrop? Raindrop gets its name from the style of the application of the oils. When you're actually working on the spine, they're dropped directly from the bottle, 6 inches above the body. And I did not know why until I was reading this, and this is super incredible. But first of all, it's simulating raindrops, right? So you're like dropping it down the spine. But the cool part is that the body's electromagnetic field extends about 3 inches above the body. So when you drop an oil just above that height, that layer, the oils actually interact with that electromagnetic field on its way down. So it enhances the electromagnetic properties that the oils already have when they penetrate the skin. Now, it's very relaxing, it's comforting, and the oils are typically applied neat, which is undiluted, though you can use your Ortho-Ease massage oil if there tends to be any sensitivity or redness. I also would encourage you, if someone has never had oils used on their skin before, or in general, if they've maybe have a lot of toxic buildup or emotional suppression over years, then you might want to use the Ortho-Ease as well, because it can help that detox process be a little more gentle. It's a technique that uses 9 of Young Living's essential oils and the massage oil that all come in this Raindrop Technique kit here. And we're going to share more about what each oil specifically does and how to use them in just a few minutes. So Allie's going to talk about why to use the Raindrop Technique.
I'm on mute. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what is the raindrop used for? Why would you want to even do this on someone or receive it? So just like what Leah said, you do not need to be a massage therapist, a chiropractor, or even a reflexologist for the raindrop to be effective. The oils work by supporting the body to come back to normal harmony by opening energy flow. So here's a quick generic list of some of the purposes that I have seen raindrop used for. Immune support, and when you hear about the oils, you'll see why. Aiding the body's natural response to inflammation and injury, easing discomfort after exercise, emotional release, supporting respiratory, sorry, they're gonna mute some people there, supporting respiratory, nervous, and circulatory systems, gentle, natural detox by cleaning the doorway to the cells with phenols, soothing muscles, bones, and joints. And I'm going to add on something here too, is that Gary saw something really interesting happen with people with scoliosis when he did raindrops. So if you know someone with scoliosis, that's another really good application for using raindrop. Because raindrop encourages the body to detox on its own, you may experience some mild after effects like a headache, nausea, some drainage, sinus drainage. You might cry if you've had some emotional release, sneezing possibly. You may be tired a little bit if your body is working hard at purging some of the things, either emotionally or toxin wise. So it's really important to drink enough water before and after a raindrop session and allow some time for you to reset. You need to be drinking at least half your body weight in ounces for at least 3 to 4 days following a raindrop session so that the toxins you release don't get reabsorbed. By the way, this is a really good target for anyone who is trying to stay healthy. That is actually the perfect hydration on a normal basis. If you want to learn more about the uses of raindrop, there is a book by Dr. David Stewart called A Statistical Validation of Raindrop Technique. I'm going to paste it in the comments here. And it's, he did, let me hear, that's the name of the book. And here is the link to the book. But that book has more than 14,000 raindrop sessions summarized with their outcomes. And he also gives 74 brief testimonials, all based on statistical data. So that's pretty cool. And there's another book called The Current Clinical Research, 100 Recent Peer-Reviewed Articles published from 2009 to 2014, Volume 1, Raindrop and Bible Oils. And so that one is another one that has a ton of data about raindrop in it as well. So I'm going to share that for you in the comments as well. So you can grab that if you want those links to those books. So historically, let's talk about the history of raindrops. So the technique was developed by Gary Young in 1989, before Young Living was even founded as a company itself. Gary learned of centuries-old Native American ritual that Leah mentioned about the Lakota tribe in South Dakota, and he paired it with what he learned about essential oils. One of the tribe elders, Wallace Black Elk, explained the technique to him. Then he performed the therapy by mixing it with the VitaFlex technique made popular by the author Stanley Burroughs in the 1920s. According to the Lakota custom, their ancestors would travel north across the Canadian border to experience the wonders of the Northern Lights. They would breathe in the light and hold their hands to the sky to absorb the electromagnetic energy of the colors and the electrical fields in the sky. They believed this healed them. Once the border between Canada and America was created in 1783, the Lakota Indians could no longer make their journey. Instead, they developed a technique using an eagle feather to stimulate the northern lights for their mind, body, and spirit. In Raindrop, the oils are dispersed using feathering techniques that mimic the Lakota tradition and work the oils through into the spinal muscles. I'm handing it over to Leah.
Oh, sorry, I forgot I had muted myself. Okay, so let's talk about electromagnetic energy just for a minute here, because I know sometimes when you hear the words electric energy in reference to the human body, it can sound kind of crazy. I hear a lot of people who are like, that's woo-woo medicine. But first, let's consider we're divinely created human beings that have intricately woven parts. Our bodies all work together, every part within us. Our brains actually work on electrical currents. We have neurons in our body that pass signals and give each organ information as it functions throughout the day. These messages get passed up and down the spine at a rate of 180 miles an hour, according to Winston Medical Center. Now, the human body sends 11 million bits per second to the brain for processing, though the conscious mind can only process 50 bits per second. Our body's electrical energy and its messaging system are things that have been repeatedly measured by scientists, and their existence is irrefutable. There is no need to fear or even doubt the frequency of the human body in terms of energy or electricity. It's simply something that God created and we're still learning about. So if you want to even take that up a notch, there's even recordings of the human voice having frequency. You're able to actually see that on the computer screen and software as a sound wave. It's like a literal vibration. And that's why they will say when you speak positive things to plants and other living beings, that they actually thrive and they do well, as opposed to speaking negativity. And so we can see that played out in our daily life as well. Truly, though, energy is in constant motion and has been since the beginning of time and creation. So it's not something to fear. It's just something that we honestly don't know a lot about. And so sometimes it's kind of ignored or just feared to talk about because we don't have all the answers. But when we speak of raindrop in terms of electricity and electrical currents, shooting messages up the nerve pathways to the brain or certain organs, there is scientific and biblical precedent for saying that. But it's helpful to understand that the science behind why the raindrop technique is so unique and so powerful. And so that's why we wanted to share that with you. It really helps us to open our mind to understand that it's so much more than just a general massage. It actually has a lot of power, healing power behind it. The spine is a superhighway where all nerves emerge, and the absorption of essential oils enhance the electrical flow along those neural pathways. So it means that the oils have access to every part of our body, including the organs, the glands, tissues, muscles, and the major body systems. God created energy. We compare oils with nature that's done by creation and the science of electrical currents all side by side. And that is the creativity and innovation of Gary Young. He truly was a walking genius when it came to understanding oils and how to use them for health and well-being. So the oils in raindrop work for two reasons. And so the first one of those is electrical frequency. So the reason that electrical frequency is higher in the oils than that of the human body. So let me back up. Okay, everything in the body has frequency. And so when you use oils, their electrical frequency is actually higher than that of the body. So when you apply it to the skin topically, it actually raises the human frequency. It does that by being shot up the nerve pathways using VitaFlex, which that technique actually makes or breaks currents between the person who is giving the raindrop, the facilitator, and the person receiving it. So that is when you watch the video and they talk about never breaking that contact, that's so important because that keeps those currents flowing from the giver to the receiver. Slight pressure is applied to the body, creating an electrical charge known as a piezoelectric energy, and it accumulates and travels in biological matter like bone, DNA, and proteins. The great innovator Nikola Tesla famously said, If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, because everything has a vibrational frequency, including you, me, your table, a cat, even non-biological material like quartz and other things like essential oils. So at the smallest level of our reality, we are made of molecules that are in motion and vibrate with life. The average frequency of the human body is between 60 and 78 megahertz. Oils, plants, and people contain frequencies outside the range heard by the human ear. Essential oils have very high frequencies, from 52 megahertz up to even known as or recorded as 320 megahertz. So not only can frequency be measured, it can also be affected or changed. And that's what I was saying by adding, I kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but by adding the oils to you, you actually have the opportunity to raise the frequency of the body, just like other things can lower, other negative things can lower the frequency. But the essential oils applied to the skin will raise the frequency. You can measure the body again, and then you would notice that the frequency has changed in a positive direction. A tiny molecule of oil, this is what is incredible to me, that is smaller than a virus, has the impact to increase the frequency of the entire human body. That's huge. It really is. Allie's going to talk about chemistry.
Yay. Okay, I love the chemistry, but we're not going to get into too many details today because it's vast and extremely complex subject. So right now, let's talk about the basics. So a subject that Gary Young excelled in, which was chemistry. His knowledge of aroma chemistry is what allowed him to create incredible blends like Valor and Stress Away, also known as Haven if you're in South Africa. By understanding how the molecules accent each other in a compound, you can create the most incredible blends. If you want a thorough whooping, check out the most detailed book on the earth. It's called The Chemistry of Essential Oils Made Simple by Dr. David Stewart. I'm going to put that in there if you guys want that. He was a gifted scientist with 30 years of U.S. geology, 30 years of the U.S. Geological Survey, and had multiple degrees in science-related fields. He also had a knack for making complicated things easier to understand. God spoke the word into existence with his own voice. It is literally a vibration. So if you're someone who believes in God, you'll know that statement from the Bible. And it's the vibration that began creation. The second reason oils work in Raindrop is because of their constituents. It's not just what's going on electrically, but also chemically. There are tiny molecules in oils that enact change in the human body. They calm you down, they wake you up. They offer a host of other things written in oil guides and printed around the world. That, though, is for you to study on your own and play with on your own with your own oils. Each drop of oil has hundreds of chemical constituents. The constituents in oils go by certain names like D-limonene, thymol, carvacol, etc. And when you distill them properly, you maintain the integrity of what Mother Nature designed in the plant. It's part of the plant that it uses to heal itself. Distilling the right way is critical. For example, when Young Living distills cypress oil, this is a super cool fact I just learned, it has 288 naturally occurring constituents in its chemical makeup when Young Living distills it. If you were distilling that oil at a temperature 10 degrees higher or 10 degrees lower, it will only have 11 constituents versus 288 that our Young Living cypress oil has. So the rest of the constituents would be destroyed. How you get the oil from the plant is so important. Young Living does it the right way because seed to seal premium standard is where it's at. Raindrop is a lot more potent using Young Living oils for this reason. They are the only oils that we will recommend to safely administer a Raindrop session. So let's talk about the science of Raindrop and what the oils do. There's a reason you layer the oils on in order, and it's based on the constituents and which part of the body the oils work best. Basically, you're going to start from the outside of the body and work your way in. Movement goes from the electrical field to the skin, to the voluntary and involuntary muscles, to the motor muscles, to the joints and skeleton, to the involuntary muscles of the heart, diaphragm, digestive tract, and reproductive organs. to the nerves, the circulatory system, and finally to the lymphatic system, which pushes everything out. Many of the constituents mentioned in the descriptions of the oils have varying properties that are beneficial to your cells and system. You'll come across terms such as phenols, sesquiterpenes, and monoterpenes, which are the constituents. Phenols are responsible for cleaning the surface of the cells. Sesquiterpenes erase the misinformation or the lies and the cells have been told over the years. The medications that cover up cold symptoms, the bad food, the weird air, and emotions. Monoterpenes restore the print of every cell that's been tainted back to its original state in which it was created. I encourage you to further explore these components and what they do, but let's take a closer look. Leah, I'm going to hand it to you.
Okay, here we are. Okay, so let's talk about what they do at a glance. And like I said, we're not going to go through all the details, but we're going to just kind of break down why each one has a value and part of the system here. So I have them out in front of me. That's why I'm kind of had to line them up. Okay, so it starts with Valor, and Valor is really good for helping you to focus on the body's electrical field. It's good for balancing and calming, and you start and end with Valor. So that one is really important. This is actually Valor 2. I don't know if the current Raindrop kit has Valor 2 or the original in it. They had changed it for a while. Next is Oregano. And this one is like a soldier. So it goes deep into the body's cells. It's for cleaning the doorways. It's a high phenol oil. So it's a cleaner. Just think of it like that. It's like sweeping through the system. And then thyme is also very similar to oregano, also a good cleaner, sweeping through the cells, and also very high phenol oil. Then we have basil. Now this one goes even deeper into the body. This one is really good for relaxing both voluntary and involuntary muscles, like your arms, your legs, your back, abdomen, even your neck and face. Not that you're applying it there, but it helps everything relax. So then we have wintergreen. So this one is really good for supporting joints and the skeletal structure of the body. Then we have marjoram, and marjoram works with the involuntary muscles like the heart, the diaphragm, the reproductive organs, and nerves. And then we have cypress, which is great for circulation. It helps push everything out of the body. Really good for the liver and your lymph nodes. And if you haven't noticed what Allie just read about how it starts outward and then works its way inward, that's what is happening here. If you notice what each one's job is and the order in which it's applied. So then there's peppermint. This one supports digestive, respiratory, and nervous systems, and it also helps support the liver, but it's the driving oil. It really helps everything to press in deeper and to be even more effective. Then we have aromacees, which is just calming and relaxing. It helps relieve tension, also good for relaxing muscles. And it also comes with the V6 that you can use if somebody's really sensitive and needs some extra support there for the oils, the hotter oils. And then the ortho-ease, which is good for muscles. Its primary purpose in Raindrop is to seal the oils to the skin so they don't evaporate into the air before they're able to be absorbed. It is similar to Orthosport massage oil. So if, depending on what country you're in, if you have just a choice of one or the other, but the phenol content in this one is lower, and the warming sensation is not quite as strong as Orthosport. But Gary picked Ortho-Ease instead of just using V6 as intended in the actual Raindrop technique, because this massage oil is soothing to the muscles. So it ends with if you end with the Ortho-Ease, it kind of makes you feel like you've had even a relaxation massage. This is so much more. It's gone deep, but then you leave feeling like you've had kind of almost like a spa-like experience as well. So hopefully you can see how you worked from the outside of the body inward, depending on which oil you're using and the purpose in which these oils were intended to go. So there is the full Raindrop technique, and we're going to send that link in the chat. Allie, if you have that handy, thank you. She's better at multitasking than me. So let's talk about a 3-minute raindrop, because I want you to kind of get just a simple bird's eye view almost, if you will, of how you could do this for someone who maybe can't lay still very long, who hasn't used oils very much in the past, or you're just in a hurry and you need it to be done quickly. This is a really great, simple way to use the raindrop. So step one is you put the Valor in your hands. And when you always do this, you're going to layer them and you're going to make sure that you move your fingers in a circular motion like this. And you don't, once you create contact again with the person, you don't want to break contact. So it's important to have the oils kind of lined up and set there really close so that you can just reach each one and always keep one hand on while you grab the oil. And I like to take all the lids off and just have them all in an order so they're easy to just grab and use, okay? So you have the receiver lay on the table and breathe it in. You put your hands on their shoulders to help balance them. So even when you're doing the raindrop, when you start at the shoulders and move down to the feet, you always keep one hand on their body as you're moving down their body. So you just move one hand at a time as you move around them. But you would have them flip over then, and you're going to drop the oils one at a time on their back. You would have one hand touching their back gently. And again, I think it's also helpful for people who have been through trauma and abuse in the past, that you're just very cautious or aware of your touch, so that and they understand that you're going to keep your hand gently on them, so that they're not triggered also by sudden touch. That's also very helpful. So they flip over, you apply the oils one at a time down the back. You make sure you go all the way from the sacrum or their bum to the atlas. So when you get up to the atlas, you want to go well into the hairline, all the way like up here. Now, one note about that, you want to reach all of those because otherwise you'll miss some nerves if you're trying to do this in too much of a hurry. You're going to wait about at least 30 seconds between each oil, 60 seconds if you can, before you drop the next one, so that it has time to really enter the dermal layer, that inner layer of the skin. If they do have really sensitive skin, you might want to opt out of oregano or thyme or peppermint all the way up into the hairline, because up here is going to be more sensitive. So you would stop between the shoulder blades. So when those get near the neck, sometimes in the folds of the skin, they can create discomfort. So then step 3 is you're going to, again, you're going to start with Valor. You're going to drop 4 to 6 drops down the spine, 6 inches above the skin. Remember, keeping that electromagnetic field. Then you're going to feather 3 inches apart, then 6 inches, then 12 inches. So you simplify the technique. And again, when you watch the video, you'll see feathering is something you do with pretty much every oil, but there's also the additional ones. Well, this is going to be the simplified version. So you're just going to do the feathering straight up the sides, like this is kind of what it looks like, in full length strokes, and then the angel wings, which is the outside like this, 3 times. And everything is done in 3s. Like 3 is just, for some reason, I know there's a science behind that, but I don't have that in front of me. Why? Then you move to the next oil. You repeat with oregano, then thyme, basil, wintergreen, marjoram, cypress, peppermint, valor. At the end, again, Valor for the balancing again. And then white angelica, if you have that, I highly recommend it, because if you have done this on someone else, the white angelica can kind of clear things out and kind of leave a protective field, if you will, around yourself for whatever the person is that is detoxing, so that you're not taking that on, especially if you're an empath. You want to be very mindful of that. So pretty much once you do that, feathering straight to the sides and full length strokes and the angel wings 3 times for each of the oils, you're done. Like that's really all there is to it for the 3-minute version. If you feel that they need support in extra areas, like the full raindrop, you can add other oils in. I always would do that at the very end of the normal raindrop before you get to the Valor and white angelica as the closer, if you will. But always keep your carrier close, your V6 close, just in case you need it. And then rub them down with the Ortho Ease at the end for that spa-like feeling. And that's it. Now, when they get up from the table, you want to also, that's not really in the notes, but just to kind of be mindful that, like Ali said, that they're going to have water handy to drink. let them take it slow, because if they sit up too quickly or try to stand up too fast, they could get dizzy, they could have other emotional experiences. So just, again, always, even if you're doing a three-minute version, give them a few minutes, like have a space where they can decompress, if you will, for a little bit, just to release anything that's come up and surfaced during the actual technique. So that's your short and sweet version.
Thank you. So, so that is the 3-minute version is a great way to attack a kiddo who maybe is fighting something viral, or a spouse who's impatient and doesn't really want you to work on them, but their back is hurting, for instance. But let's talk about the reality of who is on this call, because we're all women and we're the ones often who are the oilers, right? So what do we do when we need a raindrop and we've got no one to give it to us? Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick trick. And this is like the easy button for when you need a raindrop and you don't have a practitioner, cash on hand, or time, etc., is you can pour yourself a beautiful bath with 2 cups of Epsom salt, put all of the oils that are in the raindrop into that 2 cup of Epsom salt. So it's about 10 drops of each of those oil, and put it in a hot bath and soak your body for 20 to 30 minutes. So you will see actually like $150 worth of a massage for doing that, and it's way cheaper. So that's a great way. I mean, I need to start doing this weekly, because I think that's a brilliant thing to do. So that's the quick way. You can also kind of give yourself a reflexology massage with those oils too. So if you want to follow kind of the path of those oils on your own feet, if you're flexible enough to do so, that's another option for you as well. So that is kind of the quick and dirty about why the raindrop is such a beautiful technique, where it derived from, some science behind it. And that was our goal, is to get you interested enough that you do your own reading and researching. And if you are a practitioner, maybe this is something you incorporate into your practice, or you just do for your friends and your family because you love them and you care. So with that,